It was the kind of silence that usually precedes a hull breach. Absolute. Terrifying. I was standing right there, drink in hand, watching Mara Kovic wipe a drop of amber liquid from her lip. We were waiting for the scream. We were waiting for the biological dissolution. Instead, she just smacked her lips and looked at the empty chalice like she was disappointed it was over. We gave the human a drink that melts internal organs. She asked for a lime wedge. I swear, the collective heart rate of the mess hall dropped to 0. But look, you can't understand the sheer insanity of that moment without knowing how we got there. It didn't start with recreational poisoning. It started with a resume. Outpost 9 Gamma wasn't just a trade hub. It was a theater of war for practical jokes. Dr. Bixby Zane was the ringleader. Being a Vullian, the Bixby had these hypersensitive sensors on his head, antennae, really, that could detect a lie or a chemical imbalance from 3 rooms away. He took pride in his cultural initiation protocols. When Mara Kovic transferred in as the new logistics officer, Bixby saw fresh meat. Humans were new to the sector, barely a blip on the galactic toxicity scale, registering somewhere near the moss-eating grazers of Sector 7. Or so we thought. She looked harmless enough. Soft skin, no exoskeleton, barely any claws to speak of. An easy mark. The plan was classic Bixby. He gathered his usual suspects. Trixie, whose 4 insectoid arms were great for rigging buckets over doors. Lumos, a walking disco ball who communicated in flashes. And Grog, a rock giant who just liked being included. They managed to source a vial of Thraxian sludge. Now, you have to understand, Thraxian sludge isn't just bad. It's industrial waste. It kills 98% of known life instantly. The prank was simple. Present it as a ceremonial friendship pact. Let her lift it to her lips, and then scream, "Stop!" at the last second. Relief, laughter, bonding. Perfect. The prank was perfect, until the target's liver proved stronger than our hull plating. The execution happened in the main mess hall during the mid-cycle meal. We all watched from the sidelines as the Cabal approached her table. Bixby held the ornate chalice with trembling hands, partly from giggling, partly from the sheer lethality of what he was holding. He spun a beautiful yarn about the elixir of the void and how drinking it bound her spirit to the station. Mara just smiled. That polite, unassuming human smile. She took the cup. Bixby opened his mouth to deliver the punchline, to save her from the faux danger, to be the hero of the joke. But Mara didn't hesitate. She didn't sniff it. She didn't sip it. She knocked it back. 1, 2, 3 gulps. Bixby's antennae went rigid. Lumos flashed a strobe light of pure panic. Grog made a sound like a collapsing mine shaft. She had just ingested enough toxins to dissolve a Starship hull. We froze, waiting for the end. We expected the melting, the screaming. But Mara just set the cup down with a satisfying clack. "That was zesty," she said. I swear the sound Bixby made was like a deflating balloon. He was already reaching for his comms to call the med bay, his antennae vibrating so hard they were blurring. Trixie had covered all 4 of her eyes. Lumos was flashing an erratic strobe of danger red. But Mara? She just wiped her mouth with the back of her hand and looked at the empty cup like she was trying to identify a vintage wine. "Is there a picture of this?" she asked, tilting the chalice to catch the last drop. "It's got a kick. Reminds me of a margarita mixed with battery acid, but in a fun way. Kinda clears the sinuses." The panic in the room shifted into something else. Confusion, horror, a deep, primal realization that the laws of biology had just been rewritten in front of us. Bixby stammered, pointing a trembling claw at the bottle. That is Thraxian sludge. It dissolves carbon bonds. It is literal poison. Poison? Mara laughed. It was a sharp, barking sound. Bixby, honey, I'm from Earth. We call that recreational poisoning. We have entire holidays dedicated to drinking solvents that make us lose motor control. And then, she escalated. I mean, she really leaned into the hyper-evolutionary adaptation of it all. She stood up, walked over to the maintenance cart parked near the door, and picked up a canister of hull stripper, the stuff we use to degrease engine parts. She popped the cap. Before anyone could stop her, she dipped a finger in and tasted it. "Ooh," she said, her eyes watering slightly. "Spicy. A little metallic, but it's got a nice heat. Like a ghost pepper." That's when I realized what we were looking at. We thought we were the hunters, but we had invited an apex scavenger to the table. She started lecturing the room, waving the industrial solvent around like a prop. She talked about how Earth is a death world, a planetary nightmare where the gravity crushes you, the sun burns you, and the plants invent neurotoxins just to stop things from eating them. And what did humans do? They put those toxins on tacos. They turned survival into a culinary art form. The doors hissed open, and Station Commander Vex stomped in. He took one look at Bixby, who was hyperventilating on the floor, and then at Mara, who was casually reading the warning label on a bottle of bleach like it was a menu. "Report," Vex barked. "She drank the sludge, sir," I blurted out. "And now she's critiquing the cleaning supplies." Vex turned a shade of pale I didn't know existed. He didn't ask for details. He didn't need to. He just pointed a shaking finger at the entire crew. "No more. The prank war is over. Effective immediately. No one is allowed to test the human's durability. I don't care if she can eat fusion cores for breakfast. I don't want the paperwork." The crowd scattered fast. Nobody wanted to be near the anomaly. But I stayed. I had to see the end. Mara sat down next to Bixby, who looked like he had seen the face of a vengeful god. She leaned in close, and her voice dropped the innocent act. "I saw the chemical breakdown on the manifest this morning, Bixby," she whispered. I knew what it was. I looked it up. Acetic acid base, some heavy metals. Basically a strong vinaigrette for my people. Bixby stared at her. You knew?" "Call it a counterprank," she said, winking. "I just wanted to see if your antennae would actually pop off." That night, Bixby updated his personal log with a simple, terrified entry. "Do not feed the humans." As for Mara, I saw her later at the bar, asking the bartender if they had anything with a little more uranium in it. Humans don't just survive on a death world. They treat its deadliest toxins as condiments. And honestly, I'm never making eye contact with her again.